Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to start a new Android Studio project. In order to do that, in order to start a new Android Studio project, just go to your Android Studio icon and double click on it, and that will open this page here. Now from here you could start an Android Studio project by pressing on this section, start a new Android Studio project. Now in case you had an existing Android Studio project, what you could do is you could open that project from here, open an existing Android Studio project. You could select it and you could go to the file where your Android Studio project is, and you could then select it from there. But in our case we are not going to start an existing Android Studio project, we are going to open a new one. One more thing I want to inform you here is this, that I am going to talk about these 4 sections and these 2 sections in the future when we have learned more about Android Studio. At this point I don't think it's a good idea to explain these things. Okay, so let's just start our new Android Studio project by clicking that section, and then what you have to do here is give it a name. So I will just give it a name of my app, and then the next thing that you have to give here is the name of your domain. Now you might be wondering, what is a domain? Well, a domain is something that a publisher use, and we are not going to talk about these things in details at this point. We are going to talk about it in the future when I teach you how to publish your app. And just for now, just know that this is something that a publisher own, and then in his case when he wants to publish an app, he uses his domain name here. Alright, now for now just leave it here just like this. Okay, this is the project location. This is where your project will be saved. There is a file inside your C drive, inside your users folder, inside the account folder, Jannatul Mariam in my case, and then there will be a file called Android Studio Projects, and inside that project there will be a file called my app, and then inside that project your file will be saved, your project will be saved. Now about this section and this section I will be talking about in the future when we talk about more advanced stuff. For now, just leave these things unchecked. Now go to next. Here you will have different options for development. You will have options for phone and tablet, you will have options for Wear OS, that is for example watch, you will have option for TV, and so on. Now in this course we are going to talk about phone and tablet, so we are going to select this one and we are not going to select these ones. And one more thing I want to inform you is that just keep this part unchecked. I will be explaining this section later on, but for now just keep this section unchecked. Okay, one more thing that I want to explain here is this, that there are multiple API levels. Alright, now an higher API level will provide you with more features and functionalities, but there is a catch, there is a problem with that, which is that when you use a higher API level, what happens is that only the latest and more powerful devices can handle those API levels. For example, if you choose the latest API level, which is 28 API level, Android 9.0, if you choose this one, then you will be targeting only 1% of the devices that are active on Play Store. See, now if you choose a lesser version, let's say 4.0, then you will be in this case you will be targeting 100%. Now if you chose something in between, then you would be targeting 85% or something different. Now you have to know that when you decrease the API level, you get less functionalities, but you can target more audience. And when you create a application with higher API level, it targets less audience, but it provides you more features. Now, so you should know the nice balance of how much audience do you want and how much features you want, and based on that you should choose your API level. Now in our case, since we are very beginners, you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to just choose Android 4.4, and you can choose any of these at this point. It doesn't really matter at the moment. Alright, so now the next thing is you press next, and here you will be provided with different activity options. Now before I explain this, let me explain what an activity is. See, any screen that you see on your phone is an activity. When you open your Android mobile phone, the screen that you see where you have lots of other applications, that screen itself is an activity. When you open any app, for example you open the Facebook app, there will be a login screen, right? Login page. That page itself is an activity. Then when you have logged in, you go to the home page or your profile, and when you have wherever you are, those are different activities. Your home page is a activity, your profile page is an activity. Alright, just for another example, if you created a camera app, then when you open your camera, you see what's in your camera, and that page is also an activity. And every screen that you see on your phone is an activity. Now an activity usually takes the whole screen, but it can also take parts of the screen. It can also float in front of another screen. For example, when you drag the navigation, drag the notification bar of your phone from above, that notification bar usually floats in front of your in front of whatever activity you had behind it. Now that is an activity that is floating in front of something, but still that is an activity. Alright, now in here you are provided with different alternatives for activities. For example, you could select a completely empty activity, you could do that, or you could select a basic activity where you can get a floating action bar. You can have a parent activity navigation system here, and you could have a menu. Or you could select this one here, Google Maps activity. You could select one for fragment and view model, which I will talk about in the future. You could choose any of these activities. And one more thing I want to inform is that you could choose empty activity, and you could build any of these activities inside your empty activity. You could choose actually any of these activities, and you could change it to any other activity. So just don't worry about that. And for now we are going to select empty activity, because we are going to start learning from the very scratch. So we're going to go to next, and in this section, the activity that you chose, you have to give that activity, which is this one, we chose this one, we are going to have to give that activity a name. Now by default it is main activity, but we could change it. Now one more thing is this, one more thing that you should know is this, that your activity is usually made of two things. One is a Java file, and the other one is a layout file. This layout file, okay, the layout file is written in XML. Now that's something we are going to talk about later. For now, just know that your activity usually has two things. One is a Java file, and the other one is a layout file. Alright, now the Java file is the file where we do the programming, where we write the coding for whatever our app does. And inside the layout file, what we do is we design the appearance of the app, we design the appearance of the activity. For example, we could design a animation here, we could give a button here, we could give a image view here. So this will be the layout file. Now what we are doing here by checking this is that we are generating the layout file. You will see in details in the future. For now, just check this, check these things, and have this one true. And once you have selected this, you also have to give your layout, your design file, a name. So what we are going to name is here by default it is called activity main. You could change it, and we are not going to change it for this lesson. Now one more thing here is this backwards compatibility. Okay, now what is, you should check it, you should have this one checked. Now the backwards compatibility means, what backwards compatibility means is this, that remember that we chose API level 4.0, right? Now there are previous API versions also. There are versions for 3.0, there are versions for 2.0, right? There are previous versions of API. Now if you don't check this section here, then your app will be compatible with only the API level that you selected. But if you select this section here, this backwards compatibility, then what will happen is that your app will be compatible with all the previous versions of API. For example, if you selected 4, then it will be compatible with anything that is less than 4. If you selected API level 28, then it will be compatible with anything less than 28. So you have to select this one. We are going to talk about this even more in the future. Alright, so we are going to finish next, and the activity opens. Now the first time when you open this, you will see that in this section here there will be lots and lots of new files being downloaded. Don't worry about that if you see that, because it will be taken care of automatically, and just have patience in that case. In my case that did not happen because those files have been downloaded in my case. Now this is Android Studio. Now I will be talking about everything on this screen. I will be talking about everything, every file, all of these things, these, and how to work on with this and what are these. Everything will be shown to you in the next videos. For now, have a good day and take care.